Tonight, the White House stands behind Donald Trump's plan to move Palestinians out of Gaza.
This is an out-of-the-box idea. That's who President Trump is.
A proposal to take control of the Strip triggers fierce backlash, including defiance on the ground in Gaza.
There is a great people called Palestinian people.
Where could this go next? CBC News correspondents are standing by. New video shows RCMP tracking migrants crossing into Canada illegally.
To anyone who is thinking about crossing the border, don't. You're putting your life at risk.
Why officials are releasing these images now. And our exclusive investigation, homeowners speak out after turning to a contractor endorsed by Mike Holmes.
This is completely illegal.
Is there any danger?
Yes, it's fire.
What happened after CBC News started digging?
From CBC News, this is The National with Chief Correspondent Adrian Arsenault.
Thanks for joining us. Tonight, Donald Trump's stated plan for Gaza to have the U.S. take over and push the roughly 2 million Palestinians who live there out is being flatly rejected by most of the region and the world, but the White House is defending it. The administration championed Trump's proposal as historic, but walked back his suggestion it would be permanent, saying the removal was just a temporary part of the plan to rebuild Gaza. The UN Secretary General suggested it was something else, ethnic cleansing. As Paul Hunter explains, while officials rushed to clarify Trump's plan, there are still unanswered questions and a lot of pushback.
Good afternoon, everybody.
At the White House press briefing, the bottom line on Donald Trump and his stunner of a proposal for the Gaza Strip.
President Trump is an outside-of-the-box thinker and a visionary leader.
For all who missed it, here's Trump's idea. The U.S. would own Gaza, send the roughly 2 million Palestinians devastated by war to live in some other country or countries, clear the rubble, and build in its place, as Trump put it,
I don't want to be cute, I don't want to be a wise guy, but the Riviera of the Middle East.
Inviting the people of the world to then live there. All of it, seemingly regardless of what Palestinians may want, all of them moved out temporarily, the White House now emphasizes.
The president has made it clear that they need to be temporarily relocated out of Gaza for the rebuilding of this effort. Again, it's a demolition site right now. It's not a livable place for any human being.
Reaction to Trump's proposal globally was swift, with some suggesting it would spark fresh hatred. A number of world leaders rejected the idea, including Saudi Arabia.
Morning.
At a United Nations office in Copenhagen, it was labeled nonsense and unlawful.
People talk of ethnic cleansing. No, it's worse. It's worse. It's forced displacement. It's inciting to commit forced displacement, which is an international crime.
Freeze! At the Pentagon, having had his talks with Trump, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu met with the new U.S. Secretary of Defense.
It's an honor to welcome you to the Pentagon.
With the White House not ruling out using the U.S. military on this, Pete Hegseth was asked directly, is he working on plans for U.S. troops in Gaza?
We look forward to working with our allies, our counterparts, both diplomatically and militarily, to look at all options. But we certainly would not get ahead of the president or provide any details about what we may or may not do. That's just bad military planning. That's all we have.
Among the countries rejecting Trump's plan, Adrian, Jordan, which is one of the places in which Trump expects Gazans to be resettled. Jordan's King Abdullah will meet with Trump next week here in Washington.
And Paul, as with tariffs, I imagine there are a lot of people wondering, can this be real or is this a Trump negotiating tactic for something else?
Yeah, well, no one knows. The White House did say he's been, in their terms, socialing this for a while, thinking on it. But whether he'd force the issue is unclear. Despite the pushback, the White House did note today other countries have pushed back on Trump in just the past 2 weeks on other matters and then changed their minds.
All right. Paul Hunter in Washington. For about 2 million Palestinians, Gaza is the only home they have. And as Margaret Evans shows us, many there bitterly dismissed Trump's proposal.
One of Gaza's impromptu graveyards, the dead buried hastily when bombs were falling. For many, there is still one more journey to make, home to the places they were forced from when they lived. Shireen Talaba has come for her brother Khalil and 2 cousins, all killed by Israeli fire, she says, in separate incidents. We have no one but our family, she says. We refuse to return home without them. It is just one scene of many as Gazans try to piece together what's left of their lives during a fragile ceasefire. News of Donald Trump's hopes to own Gaza and empty it of Palestinians has been met with fury, disdain, and despair.
He will come now with his all the plan to evacuate not just Gaza Strip, to all Palestine.
During his first presidency, Donald Trump recognized Jerusalem as the Israeli capital, despite Palestinian hopes for a state with occupied East Jerusalem as its capital. Trump's latest proposal on Gaza is widely seen as a gift to hard-line Jewish nationalists who want to resettle Gaza themselves and annex the occupied West Bank. Now we work to permanently bury the dangerous idea of a Palestinian state, says the Israeli finance minister. Some Gazans fear that Egypt and Jordan's refusal to take in Gaza's population won't hold.
Eventually, they will agree to move the Gaza people from Gaza.
Others say nothing will uproot them.
Trump cannot do anything here because in front of him there is a great people called Palestinian people.
Every day, Gazans are still returning to the homes they had to leave behind. Some, like Shireen Talaba, to bury their dead for a second time.
More than 500,000 Palestinians have returned to the ruins of northern Gaza, Adrian, since the ceasefire began, and they are determined to stay there.
And Margaret, it's really hard to imagine how much more pressure these comments put on that fragile ceasefire.
That's right. In the eyes of the Palestinians, the Arab world, they are really incendiary. It's incendiary to drop it into the mix right now, especially when you saw the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu nodding along when theoretically Israel is committed to a ceasefire process that is supposed to negotiate issues like who controls Gaza or governs it, who rebuilds it, and Hamas is now demanding that Donald Trump retract those comments.
All right, Margaret Evans in London. Ottawa has also responded to the U.S. president's proposal on Gaza. Minister of Foreign Affairs Mélanie Joly says that Canada supports Palestinians' right to self-determination, including from being forcibly displaced from Gaza. A statement signed by 9 Liberal MPs, including current and former cabinet ministers, went further, condemning Trump's proposal as preposterous, a complete violation of international law that amounts to ethnic cleansing. So there's much more reaction tonight, very stinging reaction to Trump's plan and the real estate jargon critics say it's all wrapped in. We'll hear from experts and from Gazans who argue it can never work. That is ahead on The Breakdown. Well, 2 developments tonight showed just how deeply Donald Trump has burrowed into Canadian politics and policy, even with tariffs on pause. In a moment, how that's playing out with high-profile politicians. But first, Julia Wong looks at the message from law enforcement agencies determined to show their border vigilance.
A show of force by the RCMP to highlight 3 border-related incidents in the prairies.
The RCMP is committed to using every available technology and asset to secure the border between Canada and the United States.
A few days ago, an RCMP plane with thermal imaging alerted officers on the ground after detecting 6 people heading to the Manitoba border from the U.S. The group ran into a wooded area in Canada but were arrested. On Monday, they arrested 4 adults and 5 youths on foot and carrying suitcases trying to enter Canada near Coutts, Alberta. Then Tuesday, again near Coutts, police pursued a car driven by a man who had refused secondary border screening. He later died after a self-inflicted gunshot wound. The incidents prompting strong words from Mounties.
To anyone who is thinking about crossing the border, don't. You're putting your life at risk.
RCMP Assistant Commissioner Lisa Moreland says they're highlighting the cases because children and adults were crossing in -30 temperatures. But experts say there's more to it.
It is directly in response, obviously, to the political climate in the United States and the demands of the U.S. government. To be clear, arrests, seizures, and border crossings and so forth are relatively routine matters.
With a looming tariff threat and gripes from Trump about border security, experts say there's a strategy with recent border announcements.
The much more important audience is likely a U.S. audience, and in particular the White House, to show that the government and its agencies are able to deliver on the assurances that the Prime Minister has made the Trump administration.
The RCMP declined to comment when asked if they feel like pawns in the ongoing tariff conversation, instead saying they're focused on protecting Canadians and doing their jobs. Julia Wong, CBC News, Edmonton.
So how is Trump's influence playing out in Canadian politics? Ashley Burke now with the very public attempts at addressing the U.S. president's concerns.
That's my future cabinet up there.
Two opponents vying to become prime minister.
Everyone smiles.
Out in front of the cameras, laying out policies to address what could dominate the next election, Donald Trump.
It should not take a foreign leader to get the Liberals to wake up to the drug crisis that they have caused here at home.
As Trump's tariff threat shakes the political landscape, Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre's pitching to crack down on fentanyl trafficking, one of the U.S. president's top concerns.
There will be life sentences for anyone caught trafficking, producing, or exporting over 40 milligrams of fentanyl.
I think what we would...
Near the Canada-U.S. border, Liberal leadership contender Mark Carney's proposal is to make Canada less reliant on the U.S.
We must diversify our trading relationships.
He's also promising to boost military spending 2 years faster than the government's plan. Trump's taken aim at Canada for not meeting its NATO spending target and said it should become America's 51st state.
My government would work to reach 2% of GDP in defense spending by the end of this decade and pull our full weight in NATO.
All of this unfolding on the same day the Prime Minister spoke to premiers for the first time since Trump paused tariffs for 30 days.
As long as Donald Trump is president, the risk of tariffs will never go away.
The government's working with provinces and territories to simplify and speed up trade between provinces, suggesting those changes could happen in the next 30 days.
The momentum is palpable. The moment is here, and we are seizing the moment.
In this moment, it's unclear what Trump will do next. The Prime Minister will host an economic summit on Friday with business and industry leaders. Their focus, how to protect Canada from an unpredictable Trump. Ashley Burke, CBC News, Ottawa.
So Trudeau's pledge to tighten the border has put U.S. tariffs on hold for now. That promise includes a crackdown on money laundering by major crime groups in Canada. Nisha Patel takes a look at just how big the problem really is.
The fentanyl coming through Canada is massive.
The U.S. president says if Canada doesn't crack down on drugs at the border, he'll invoke tariffs, crippling the economy. So the Prime Minister has promised to act, including cracking down on money laundering. According to a Canadian Police Intelligence Service, as much as $113 billion was laundered through Canada last year. Much of it by the nearly 100 organized crime groups that produced fentanyl in this country.
Legislation has simply not kept up with the way this space has evolved over the last 25 years. It's just not been a priority for the government.
Experts say criminals are drawn to financial rules that are more lax compared to the U.S. There's less oversight, so they can more easily hide dirty money.
Even if you get caught, the penalties are relatively minor.
Even before Trump's threat, Ottawa proposed larger financial penalties for companies that don't follow anti-money laundering laws. This after TD Bank was fined $3 billion by American authorities for failing to stop fentanyl traffickers from laundering millions of dollars through its U.S. branches.
Banks, other financial institutions, securities dealers, jewelers, gold dealers, casinos. It's a huge problem in the sense of it's so pervasive and there are so many ways to do it.
Michael Ecclestone helps businesses monitor suspicious financial activity. He says there are big gaps in how Canada deals with money laundering compared to the U.S.
A lack of resources and a lack of focus is the amount of prosecution.
Canada has pledged to launch a joint strike force with the U.S. to combat money laundering. The federal government has also promised to create a financial crimes agency to boost enforcement, but that's almost 3 years overdue. Nisha Patel, CBC News, Toronto.
And Donald Trump has now signed an executive order to ban transgender women from competing in women's sports.
With this executive order, the war on women's sports is over.
Trump has already declared that his administration only recognizes two genders, male and female. Today's order also cuts funding to schools and organizations that go against the executive order. Meanwhile, the president and Elon Musk are rapidly reshaping the U.S. government, dismantling agencies and purging those they call partisan employees. And as Katie Simpson shows us, that use of power is prompting protest.
The demonstrations popped up all over the U.S., hundreds of people gathering in different cities to speak out against Elon Musk and his unprecedented overhaul of the federal government.
We need to end this illegal power grab. Vote, vote, vote.
Donald Trump picked the world's richest man to lead the newly created Department of Government Efficiency, known as DOGE, with Musk ordered to recommend government cuts. The Trump administration has so far offered millions of federal workers buyouts, warning their jobs may be cut, fired several inspectors general who act as government watchdogs, fired prosecutors involved in the January 6th cases, warned FBI agents who investigated the Capitol riot they too could be fired.
They have set their sights on a full purge of anyone in government that doesn't bend the knee and follow their orders.
The agency USAID is in the process of being shut down. The Departments of Labor and Education could be next. And Musk's team has access to the most sensitive information at the Treasury Department. Overview of the $6 trillion it spends every year.
Presumably, they want this access for something. They plan to use the data in some way, either to reject payments or to use it for some other punitive purpose.
Lawsuits have been launched to try to stop Musk's work, while Democrats have tried to force Musk and his team to testify in front of lawmakers.
That's not a point of order. I agree.
A plan that ultimately failed with the support of Trump's allies.
I think there's a gross overreaction in the media to what is happening. The executive branch of government in our system has the right to evaluate how executive branch agencies are operating.
The White House says Musk and Trump campaigned together, and this is making good on their promise to curb government spending. Katie Simpson, CBC News, Washington.
RCMP in Saskatchewan say they believe 4 people killed on a First Nation on Tuesday may have been targeted.
The Saskatchewan RCMP continues to investigate this quadruple homicide as well as another serious firearms-related offense that occurred in close time and proximity.
Carry the Kettle First Nation is about 85 kilometers east of Regina. Police say they are still working to identify 2 men and 2 women who were found dead in a home. There's still no word on suspects, but Mounties do not believe there's a greater risk to the public. Ismaili Muslims have a new spiritual leader tonight. Prince Rahim Al-Hussaini has been named the new Aga Khan, the 50th hereditary imam of the Shia Ismaili Muslims. His father, the previous Aga Khan, died Tuesday at the age of 88. Well, just weeks after getting 13 Oscar nods, the team behind Emilia Pérez is shunning its lead actor.
How did we not know this until just a few days ago?
The unearthed statements and the condemnation that's followed. Plus, why some BC vineyards are questioning their viability and how they're trying to stay afloat.
You have it function one time and you've paid it off.
And a tongue-in-cheek jab at Trump's obsession with the border.
I was almost immediately looking online for googly eyes.
We're back in 2.
I just have to have you wait until we can have you safely removed from the aircraft.
Officials are investigating a frightening moment at Seattle's airport today. A jet full of tourists waiting to take off for Puerto Vallarta was struck by a Japan Airlines plane that was taxiing. The plane jiggled back and forth, according to one passenger, but There were no injuries. After 2 harsh BC winters, the province's wine crop has been devastated. Brady Strachan shows us how vineyards are testing new methods to protect their grapevines from extreme cold.
The delicate buds on this grapevine are Bobby Arcego's most valuable asset.
Yeah, I just want to protect, this is the rootstock of the plant.
As vineyard manager at Black Hills Estate Winery, he's trying to protect these young vines from the winter chill. 1 year ago, extreme cold wiped out 95% of BC's wine grape crop.
We saw temperatures dip down to minus 27, even some minus 29 in areas around here, and that caused us to see extensive damage and death with our vines.
Arcego is using straw, composted mulch, and a technique called hilling, piling soil over the vine base to insulate his vines. These age-old practices are used at vineyards in colder climates. A newer method, these geotextile fabrics trap heat from the ground.
If we can't protect against the cold weather, we're going to be questioning if it's a region that we can grow wine grapes in.
An hour away, researcher Ben Min Chung is testing grape varieties for cold hardiness. He's helping growers test cold protection methods by measuring temperature differences between insulated and exposed vines. Even a few degrees can make or break a crop.
They can probably tolerate not lower than minus 25. When we see minus 25, that's pretty much, that's sure that's 100% lost.
Doesn't look like it's putting out a lot of heat.
At this Kelowna vineyard, Rowan Stewart is testing a high-tech solution. Strings of vacuum-sealed LED lights give off infrared heat to the adjacent vines. At a cost of $10,000 to $20,000 per acre, it's costly. But Stewart says even saving one crop makes it worthwhile.
You know, that's the nice thing about frost protection. You have it function one time and you've paid it off.
If successful, he'll expand this trial next winter.
I'm pretty confident we'll find a solution and we'll be back making amazing Pinot Noir and Chardonnay in a couple of years.
Brady Strachan, CBC News, Kelowna.
Donald Trump's plan to take over Gaza is being met with widespread uproar.
What he may not understand, this isn't land, this is the Holy Land.
Why some call the president's words a prelude to ethnic cleansing. And a renovation company endorsed by Mike Holmes, now accused of shoddy and sometimes dangerous work.
This was supposed to be your dream bathroom?
Yeah. Not anymore. It's our nightmare bathroom now.
The National breaks down the stories shaping our world. Next. Those are protesters who gathered today at an Amazon warehouse in Laval, Quebec. Last month, Amazon announced it was closing all of its facilities in the province, cutting 1,700 permanent jobs. The Laval warehouse was the only Amazon workplace in Canada to successfully unionize. The union is asking Quebecers to boycott Amazon and is considering legal action. The lead actress of Netflix's Emilia Pérez has been cut from the movie's award campaign. Carla Sofia Gascon is the first openly trans person to receive an Academy Award nomination for acting. Eli Glasner now on why some of her past offensive comments could change the Oscar race.
For months, Emilia Pérez was an award season sensation and serious Best Picture contender.
It has the most nominations at the Oscars. It had won so many critics' prizes leading up to the nominations. It seemed like the absolute movie to beat.
Are you English? Quite a feat for a Spanish-language musical about a trans woman. But now the old social media posts from Carla Sofia Gascon, the actor who stars as Emilia Pérez, have surfaced. Canadian culture writer Sarah Haggie decided to dig into Gascon's social media history. What she found was disturbing and offensive. They date back to 2016, when Gascon's post included that Islam was, quote, a hotbed of infection for humanity, describing George Floyd as a drug addict swindler, and that she didn't understand the world war against Hitler. As reaction exploded, Gascon posted an apology, saying in part, "I am deeply sorry to those I have caused pain."
Well, how did we not know this until just a few days ago?
The CEO of this crisis management firm says Netflix should have done its homework.
it wasn't hidden. Any good Gen Z sleuth could have uncovered that.
As the situation snowballed, Gascon booked her own appearance on Spanish-language CNN, apologizing once again.
Mis más sinceras disculpas. Public relations is the opposite of crisis management, and she went on a PR campaign, and in doing so, I think sealed her own fate.
Now with Oscar voting approaching, Netflix is removing Gascon from the promotional campaign and awards appearances.
They're erasing the trans person from the trans film. It's a really horrible irony, in my opinion.
Academy Award producers are already pivoting, scrapping plans which would have seen actors celebrating the nominees, including Gascon, on stage. Eli Glaster, CBC News, Toronto.
Now it's time to dig deeper into the stories shaping our world. Donald Trump's plan to empty Gaza. Reaction to an idea that could amount to ethnic cleansing. But first, a CBC News exclusive.
I'm Mike Holmes here with Ivan from AGM Renovations.
Celebrity contractor Mike Holmes endorsed a national reno company that is now being investigated for safety violations.
There were fire hazards left for us.
Not only that, the agency that's investigating uses homes to promote safety.
They don't really go together.
As our investigation proceeded, Holmes' website deleted all mention of the company. Sophia Harris begins with some of the homeowners left to deal with shoddy work.
Shocking renovations.
This is completely illegal.
Is there any danger?
Yes, it's fire.
Promoted by a celebrity contractor.
AGM are the basement, bathroom, and kitchen experts to get the job done right.
A national company under investigation by a provincial authority.
If you're going to leave homes unsafe, I think there has to be a consequence.
That's in partnership with the same celebrity contractor.
They don't jive together. Something's wrong there.
The Cartiers haven't been able to use their ensuite bathroom for over a year.
Electrical stuff still left hanging.
In 2023, they decided to upgrade the 3 bathrooms and 1 powder room in their 5-person family home.
Wrong bidet.
But issues with the renovation put the project on hold.
This was supposed to be your dream bathroom?
Yeah. Not anymore. It's our nightmare bathroom now.
We're in limbo. We don't know when it's going to get done.
Now, every morning, Eric, Emily, and their 3 kids compete for 1 shower.
It's been frustrating knowing that this room's just sitting here with a closed door that would just drastically improve our lives to have back available to us.
Having experienced bad contractors in the past, this time, the Cartiers thought they made a wiser choice.
Is your bathroom over 10 years old? I'm Mike Holmes here with Ivan from AGM Renovations.
AGM Renovations, operating in Ontario and BC.
At AGM, we use the top trades and each product is finished on time.
Recommended by TV celebrity Mike Holmes, who's known for exposing botched reno jobs.
AGM are the only kitchen and bathroom renovation specialists I recommend.
With its own webpage even embedded in Holmes' Make It Right website. The Cartiers say AGM salesperson used that as a selling point.
We'd actually mentioned bad contractors that we've experienced in the past, and he reassured us that would not be a problem with AGM because they're a Mike Holmes-endorsed company and everything would be done right. Got a loose tub filler here. His hand sprayer's on the wrong side.
But everything was not done right, according to the Cartiers.
This is water damage in our living room from a cracked toilet that they installed in the upstairs bathroom.
When AGM's toilet installer admitted he wasn't a licensed plumber, they began to wonder who else might not be licensed. Concerned about the electrical work done, the Cartiers contacted the province's Electrical Safety Authority.
Overseeing electrical contractors and master electricians to ensure that only licensed experts do electrical work for hire.
Ontario's Electrical Safety Code requires all work be reported to the ESA by pulling a permit.
The light is still unfinished.
The ESA sent an inspector to the Cartiers' home. Their report concluded AGM did not pull a permit and did not use a licensed electrician. It recommended the Cartiers hire one to redo the work, who then uncovered
loose connections, missing junction boxes. The electricians told us that it wasn't to code and there were fire hazards left for us. We were furious, very angry. It's our home, it's where our kids sleep.
The Cartiers have launched a lawsuit against AGM, claiming damages for breach of contract. AGM told CBC News it can't comment on issues before the courts, but does not admit to any wrongdoing. Meanwhile, CBC News has learned the Electrical Safety Authority has been investigating AGM, reaching out to former customers who've had electrical issues, including the Cartiers.
We were approached by a private investigator that told us he was investigating on behalf of ESA, AGM, that there were a number of families with similar stories to ours. It, made us feel like we weren't alone.
These have to be opened.
He wasn't alone.
Right now, the ESA would fine us if they came in.
Peter McHale also contacted the Electrical Safety Authority to inspect AGM's work after he and his wife Tiffany hired AGM to completely renovate their kitchen in 2022. They too say they encountered multiple problems, including what was supposed to be a cupboard that automatically cuts power to small appliances when the doors close. The one they got does not.
This is completely illegal, and this is the issue with the ESA. When they came out,
Is there any danger?
yes, it's fire, because you've got electrical appliances that are plugged into the wall behind wood.
Now the McHales have to remember to unplug everything before closing the doors. The ESA inspection found a total of 6 electrical defects in the renovated kitchen, including no work permit pulled.
Plumbing issues, venting issues. Now we're in a situation where we have an ESA certificate that tells us that, that there are issues, that we are not up to code electrically in this house. How does that happen if this is your business?
When Peter refused to pay the balance for the renovation, AGM sued them and put a lien on their house. The McHales are countersuing AGM for breach of contract and negligence. In their statement of defense, AGM denied there were any deficiencies in their work and said the owners forced them to vacate the premises and didn't allow them to complete it.
We knew that we would be paying more with that company for that recommendation, that kind of Mike Holmes seal of approval. My feeling is that at some point, he would have vetted their work to make sure, okay, if I'm going to give you the Mike Holmes seal of approval, then you need to deliver what it is that the philosophy of my, show is.
I just stopped a fight between Thomas Edison and Nikola Tesla.
And Peter knows a bit about that.
Mr. Wells, we meet again. Julia, wasn't it?
Through his career as an actor.
Oh, right. Because I'm too small to do it myself.
Sorry, I just...
Yeah, I got it. Come on.
Okay. I did a lot of commercials actually in Canada myself. If you're going to sell a product and it's supposed to do something that you say that it does, then there's a certain kind of standard and code that you have to stand by.
The Electrical Safety Authority.
We tell Peter the ESA is investigating AGM.
Doesn't surprise me at all. There needs to be more regulations everywhere when it comes to home renovations, because if Mike Holmes can tell you that these are the guys that are going to do the job properly, and they don't, and the issues that you're having aren't just about the aesthetic look of your kitchen, but we're talking about electrical issues.
You need to be sure that your general contractor is only hiring a licensed electrical contractor.
Speaking of Mike Holmes and electrical issues,
with a little effort, you can make sure your home's electrical work is safe and legal.
I haven't seen that. That's shocking.
This is an ESA video. They're in partnership with Mike Holmes' company, the Holmes Group.
Right. It's ironic, isn't it? But it seems that he's getting paid by everyone, everywhere.
Do you think he should be promoting both AGM and the Electrical Safety Authority when a number of people have had electrical issues?
If he's checking their work, yes. But now, no. Absolutely not.
To double check if your electrician is licensed, look them up online.
We show the car chase, one of the ESA videos.
Knowing the experience we had with AGM, specifically on licensed electrical work, to see Mike Holmes also on the Electrical Safety Authority website is surprising.
They don't really go together.
If he's going to be making the ESA videos, you'd think maybe he'd be a little more involved in making sure that the contractor that he's endorsing is actually following that as well.
What do you think the ESA should do about its partnership with the Holmes Group?
For the ESA to be investigating one company and using the same representative that endorses them seems kind of off.
ESA told CBC News they don't confirm or comment on investigations, and their paid partnership with the Holmes Group is reviewed annually to ensure it's still meeting the objectives of the ESA. After we reached out to the Holmes Group about AGM and the ESA, that AGM page on Holmes' website disappeared. All of the Holmes ads on AGM's social media also gone. But we never received a response to our multiple inquiries. AGM told CBC their relationship with the Holmes Group is in a transition phase as they work through a brand refresh, and they have no record of an investigation by the ESA.
If we're cooking something that's smoky, it actually comes back in the house.
The lien has now expired on the McHale's house, but they're still in a legal battle with AGM.
Due to my own stubbornness, I'm willing to fight people like this on principle because it's wrong.
Through their lawsuit, the Cartiers hope to recoup some of the $100,000 they borrowed for their renovation.
I've had to work as much overtime this year as I could just to keep up with the bills of just trying to fight for it.
And finally, get their bathroom project done right.
Okay, so Sophia Harris investigated this story for months, and she offers this very practical tip for you. If you want to know how to verify that your electrician is licensed, check online with your provincial safety authority. Well, Donald Trump's plan to take over Gaza is being forcefully rejected by Palestinians.
To uproot those people yet again is not only cruel, but also, I think, a recipe for disaster.
Why some say displacement could lead to more instability. Why Donald Trump's plan for Gaza is nothing but infuriating gall in the eyes of those who've endured so much.
He's either bonkers or bluffing.
Removing the population to build a new Riviera that defies history, undermines a two-state solution, and breaches international law. Now, the president paints it as a humanitarian gesture, but as Ella Morrow shows us, the plan ignores Palestinians' deep sense of belonging to the land.
The U.S. will take over the Gaza Strip, and we will do a job with it, too. The Riviera of the Middle East. This could be so magnificent.
U.S. President Donald Trump's plan for Gaza, calling for Palestinians to leave, dismisses both decades of the enclave's history and the reality on the ground today. A place where, no matter how destroyed, many Palestinians have no desire to live anywhere else. Trump can dream on if he thinks he can displace or expel us, this woman says. Here's some of why Trump's vision for Gaza is drawing so much shock and condemnation.
In the search for solutions, we must not make the problem worse.
It's illegal. It's also immoral.
He thinks he's in Manhattan buying a piece of real estate. What he may not understand, this isn't land, this is the Holy Land.
Gaza is a small strip of land surrounded by Israel, Egypt, and the Mediterranean Sea. Gaza and the occupied West Bank make up the internationally recognized Palestinian territories. Before 15 months of Israel's crushing military offensive, triggered by the deadly Hamas attacks of October 7th, Gaza had a population of more than 2 million. Most of its residents, refugees or descendants of Palestinians who either fled or were forced from their homes in what is now Israel during the 1948 war over Israel's creation. The president's words a deeply painful reminder of that history of displacement, raising the specter it could happen again. We have been fighting displacement for over 76 years, says this man. This is our land. My father and grandfather were from here, this man says. We've got only one option, live or die here.
To uproot those people from what is left of their homeland is not only cruel, but it will absolutely guarantee the perpetuation of conflict and instability for generations.
The White House tried to soften Trump's call for an American takeover, claiming any displacement would be temporary.
The president has not committed to putting boots on the ground in Gaza.
Trump has even tried to paint his plan for Gaza as a humanitarian gesture.
If they had an alternative, they'd much rather not go back to Gaza and live in a beautiful alternative that's safe.
Trump ignoring Palestinian wishes and being accused of calling for ethnic cleansing, the forcible removal of a population from their land, a crime under international law.
Palestinians will be placed in somewhere else where they'll have sunshine and a nice life. I mean, it sounds all very idyllic if it weren't completely untethered from reality.
Gaza is also key to any chance of a two-state solution to the conflict. While it faces massive hurdles to ever becoming a reality, it's long been accepted by the international community as the best hope for peace. That plan calls for the creation of an independent Palestinian state, encompassing Gaza and the West Bank, to exist alongside Israel.
We should be talking about how to get to a place where Palestinians will determine their own future in Gaza, as opposed to this bizarre part real estate development, part colonial imperial project.
Trump's comments are also set to embolden Israel's settler movement and far-right politicians eager to reoccupy Gaza. Israel unilaterally withdrew from Gaza in 2005, pulling out settler communities. It then imposed a total blockade supported by Egypt after the Hamas takeover of Gaza shortly after. Some Israelis, like these families surveying Gaza's war-torn landscape, want to create new settlements there, even though they'd be considered illegal under international law.
To most of the world, it sounded like fingernails on a chalkboard, but to Netanyahu's right-wing coalition members, this was Beethoven's Ode to Joy.
And it should not go through.
Trump's proposal has been slammed both as absurd and unworkable, but coming from the most powerful leader on the planet, his words could have deep consequences on a shaky ceasefire now and hopes for stability later.
The Arab states in particular are not going to be full of confidence in the Trump administration. And their ability even to understand the basic elements of the problem.
Base case scenario, this is an icebreaker. Yes, he used a sledgehammer, he shocked us all, but perhaps we can get the conversation going. He's either bonkers or bluffing.
So Ellen reminds us that Trump was also asked about his views on the West Bank. Would his government recognize Israeli sovereignty over that occupied land? Well, such a decision would put him at odds with most countries. Trump said he will make an announcement in 4 weeks. Now we want to give you a quick peek at a story we have in the works. Deaths from fentanyl are at a crisis level. So, should the drugs dealers be treated as murderers?
Thousands of victims, thousands of angry, grieving families.
I prefer to call it death dealer. That's what these fentanyl dealers really are. They're death dealers.
And for every death, the knowledge that someone sold these toxic drugs.
I've been angry for so long. I was angry for so long at that person.
So why are so few dealers held accountable for the deaths caused by the drugs they sell? And should they be charged with murder?
And if my daughter died, I would go out hunting that person down and taking their life.
Brianna Martin's story is one of heartache. She died at home last year after taking fentanyl. She was 27. And like most victims of toxic drugs, no one has been charged directly in her death.
We will have that full story for you on Friday on The National. Well, coming up, a bit of a cheeky rebuke of Trump's border demands.
You know what? 24/7, Donald, they are keeping an eye on things for you.
How this googly gag became a reality, next in our moment. Okay, so check out Canada's newest quote-unquote border guards. Yes, those are hockey sticks. And yes, you're very observant, they have googly eyes. Inspired by an off-the-cuff comment poking fun at Trump's focus on the border, the unusual Canadian sentries have been adding a little bit of levity to an incredibly tense topic. And so, tonight, they make our moment.
It's a very Canadian response to a really obnoxious situation. On Monday night, I was doing a panel on power and politics, and I made a sarcastic comment.
Look, we have 24/7 eyes on the border, which frankly, I hope is like a hockey stick stuck in a snowbank with like googly eyes glued to it.
I wasn't at all serious. The next morning when I got an email from Aaron and he and his mom KJ, and they were really tickled by this idea of the hockey stick googly eye sentries. So they made a bunch of them.
We both kind of laughed. I was almost immediately looking online for googly eyes. We went down the street, there's a few open fields, and we stuck them in.
Honestly, this is the most delightful thing I've heard in a long time. I think it's just perfect for the moment and the national mood. This is really cheeky, it's really funny, and I would love it if the hockey stick googly eye sentries at the border sort of became a thing.
Be proud to be a Canadian.
Here's our Google-eyed hockey sticks, and you know what? 24/7, Donald, they are keeping an eye on things for you, so I hope you feel safer.
Okay, do not mess with Canada, it seems, and they are all hoping this becomes a little bit of a thing. From all of us at The National, thank you for being with us. You can watch anywhere, anytime on the free CBC News app and subscribe to The National's YouTube channel. I'm Adrienne Arsenault. Take care.